Certains sont sans notre dos, ils insistent.
Sur l'art.
Rien pour le moment.
Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres survivants?
Non, monsieur, un seul. Il a eu beaucoup de chance.
What did you see, old man?
Gojira. Gojira. Gojira.
Funny thing about the name Godzilla, I used to think it meant King of the Lizards or King of the Dragons, but it actually translates to mean gorilla whale. Not sure if that really fits, but he certainly is the King of the Lizards, and why not bring him out of the attic to participate in today's video, which is the King of the Flightmasters. All three automatic flighties are on deck, as is a cautionary tale and a +1. We have got an awful lot of stuff on deck today, going around the room. Hobby of Hours mug, a bunch of cool stuff from CountyCom. We got a tube vault. We got the Watchmaker's 3-in-1 collab tool. Even Godzilla's got one. We got their embassy pen in honey. And we have a grappling hook. You heard me correct. You can get Batman gear at countycom.com. We've got Godzilla, one of my favorite toys from the days of my youth. And then going around the room, Seiko Flightmaster SBDS 001, 002 in the brown titanium, also called the Top Gun, 003, the fully automatic flighty, boom. We've got a Top Gun 02, hilariously missing parts, get to that in a minute. We've got the Sky Professional SBDR 001, which is the Annie-Digi version, not in this line, but it looked so much like it, and you know, super duper affordable version, so bringing that one out to play as well. And the Seiko Credor Chronograph Phoenix over here. Also featured on the Japanese Mook. And in the background, we've got some art, no Garfunkel. We've got the Porsche design, F14, and some Yahoo on a bike artwork, also available for purchase at hobbyofhours.com, along with some other art and the mug. And also, t-shirts are in, so get yours. Unique Seiko chronograph ownership. These are fantastic watches. This is the Credor Phoenix watch, and it shares the movement that's in here, just a different variant of it. And I got this at a good price because there was something going on with the glass underneath, and I thought I could take it apart and clean it myself. And I got it apart, I cleaned it, but sure enough, putting it back together, I broke the crown stem, shipped it off to Seiko USA. They couldn't work on it. They had to ship it to Japan. They had to go send it back to the mothership. And they weren't willing to give me just a partial service on it. They made me pay for a full service. So, you have to factor in the cost of service when you buy a watch, we know that. But if you're going into the realm of unique Seiko chronographs, be prepared. It's going to have to go back to Japan, and you're going to get hit for a full boat, a full whack. And you would think I had learned my lesson. I'll come back to this one here. This is damaged goods. What are we indeed looking at? We are looking at a series of Pro Specs watches, professional specifications, that were released in the years 2001 to 2003. 3 different models. The first 2 being really rather quite alike, whereas the third one quite a bit different. And this one here is the one I did indeed take to the Moyer meetup with Urban Gentry TGV last year. Had an absolute blast with that. Didn't win the contest with it, but that's okay. We had some fun talking watches. These 3 watches share measurements, so let's put the numbers up on the board. This is the only one of them that is not limited. So we don't know how many of these are out there, but 9 times out of 10, there's always 1 or 2 floating around eBay. Time was you could get these for under $2K. They're cruising at 2.5 these days. If you coordinate properly with a coupon or the double coupon, whenever that, you know, throughout the year there's like a special, there's the 10% eBay coupon, and then there's the 10% coupon from the JDM sellers, and there's like a day or 2 of overlap where you can use them both. And it equates to about a 19% off of the original price, and it's usually 2K and up watches. If a seller has a listing that's just under $2,000, like $1,925, ask them to raise it to $2K. Then you can apply at least the eBay coupon, get 10% off, knocks it down to $1,800. But ideal state, you get that double trouble coupon, 10 plus 10, and after the math, it equates to 19% off. It's a fabulous piece. All titanium in that beautiful Seiko Brights coloration. These do wear a bit large, as you can see on those dims. 45 sounds terribly large. You're going to see, because of that shorter lug-to-lug on my 6.5-inch wrist in a few moments, that it doesn't wear all that large. A bit tall at 15, but there are chronos and those super dive watches that cruise around at 18, so I don't find it that bad. At least we have a proper lug width at 20. And water resistance is 100 meters. The pushers are screw down, the crown's screw down, and I don't know, this is going on 20 plus years. You may want to have it tested before you take a dip in the pool. And speaking of the pool, let's just dive right in. Going for the number one. All black, has a power reserve, and there's the thickness. Bracelet is pretty decent. It's that Brights titanium, and they have a display case back showing off that beautiful 6S37 movement, beating along at 28.8. You're gonna get 50 hours out of this, and I have to say, the older I get, the more I appreciate a power reserve indicator on the front. The date is a little bit different on number 3. It's at the 4 o'clock position. Never been a fan of 4 o'clock position dates, but this movement is really rather wonderful. Almost destined to be a Grand Seiko chronograph movement, but they ended up using it in this line, and as I said earlier, there's a variant of this 6S movement in this model down here, this other super duper awesome JDM. Coming back to this just for a second, you can get these in steel and titanium. This is the titanium. They make them in a variety of dials as well. There's actually a white dial out on eBay right now. It's priced a little bit heavy, but I've never seen the white dial titanium come along, so link in the description if you want to go check that out. I'll put a link in for one of these as well. These two very rarely, if ever, show up in the market. I've seen maybe one of these other than mine. Should have bought it. It was at a cheap price. I just didn't. And this is actually the third one that I've owned. We'll handle that in a second. So let's put it on wrist, see what we're working with here in terms of sizing. Alright, so on my 6.5-inch wrist, you know what, the gloves are fun, but let me take them off. There we go, D. Okay, so not that bad. It's not hanging off like you would expect it to, just seeing the number 45 there. Long lead, a little bit tall, but because it's titanium, wears super duper light. So 6.5-inch and up. If you're under 6.5 inches, I would recommend a pass on this, because it's not like you can go try it on in the store the way you can, say, a Grand Seiko or whatnot. But the lug-to-lug is really helping us, or helping me, on that wrist presence. An additional item to note is this movement, while no longer in Seiko watches, did live on. TAG and Junghans both licensed it in some way, shape, or form, and they're floating around in their watches. I may have to get one. I may have to buy one. Alright, so this is number 2. This is called the Top Gun, and it has a brown, let's see if I can get that brown accent on it in the middle links and the bezel, and it's called the Top Gun mostly because this brown titanium shading is the way jet nozzles turn after years of afterburner use, and it's more or less the same layout, unidirectional bezel, and only 300 of these are out there. Actually, only 298 are out there, because 2 of them are on the table, and actually this was one of my mother's favorite watches. I don't know why she liked it, probably because of the brown going in there with the accents. See how that the sub-dials also carried that through. Got a bit of a waffle dial going on, and the brown sub-dials. A beautiful watch, absolutely beautiful watch. So beautiful indeed that I have no idea what the previous owner of this one did. I took a runner on this thinking I was really rather clever because the first of these I owned, of the brown, had some issues with the bezel. I fixed it and I flipped it and I made a mad profit on it. So when this one showed up on Chrono, look, there's not even a rotor in here. I think I got this for like $250. And I thought to myself, oh, I'm super clever. I'll just send this to Seiko USA and pay them for a full service plus parts. Sure enough, shipped it off to Seiko USA. They said, sorry, D, it has to go over to Japan. So I thought, okay, no big deal. Ship it over there. Of course, I had to pay the shipping. So I'm like 150 deep in shipping, only to have Japan come back and say, oh, we don't have the parts for this anymore. We can't fix it. And I was like, Seiko USA, you couldn't send an email and find that out for me. What the heck? So, at the very least, I've got parts in case I ever need something for one of these. And as I mentioned, since Hoyer and Junghans are making this movement, I might have to get one of those, cannibalize it, take the rotor off. I'm, of course, not going to do this. We would send it off to SJR. Thank you, Joe. And have them do it. There's a bunch of parts jingle-jangling around in here. Absolute absurdity. Why did this happen to this watch? How did that hand... This watch is not that old. How did that hand lose its loom? And why would anyone do that to this particular watch is beyond me. But I also fantasize about getting one of these super cheap, taking the movement out, putting it into there, stitching it up, Frankenstein, not really Frankenstein because it's the exact same movement, and then selling it for a profit, which I don't know if that math works out. I'll have to do the math. I haven't quite figured that part out yet. Number 3, Power Trio. I have the bracelet for this watch. I just happen to wear it on this strap out of homage to Seiko Flighty SNA 411 from Urban Gentry. And plus, just look at the way that stripe lines up with the chronograph hand. Automatic Flightmaster. How cool is this? And I learned about these watches from, you guessed it, watching Urban Gentry. I had to look up the video. It was from, donkeys years ago, where he covered these watches, and he shared an article from Musings of a Watch Addict. Excellent article, link in the description below. Check that out. That guy's amazing. Go check out his Instagram as well. And once I saw that video, I went on a hunt for this. Took me 6 months to get it. And then I went down the rabbit hole trying to get the brown one and the regular one. And, I guess that's the collector's journey in me. But this watch is probably my favorite of the 3. Obviously, because it's got those Seiko Flighty vibes to it. And unusual about this, it's got the date at 6 o'clock hidden down there. Epically good. Thank you, Seiko. Just hidden in a little subdial. And, of course, the same power reserve and the Arabic numerals going around, whereas this just has the stick indices. Love this piece. I'm a little disappointed this one didn't win the contest. I had a ton of fun at the Moyer show, though. That was a blast. Gorge. If you can get one of these, get one of these. They rarely pop. And the key word for searching for these is Seiko Flightmaster, and then just sort from high to low. That way you'll cast the widest net. And for these, Seiko Credor Phoenix, the key to looking for these is you'll know the titanium. It is printed on the case back, but funny enough, on a lot of models, the case back is worn down, or the seller will not, give you a good shot of the case back. Sometimes they misrepresent them by accident, and they have the titanium for sale as the stainless steel, and you might actually get a better price. The stainless steel ones are cheaper. The titanium ones are a little bit rarer. And the titanium version of this ends in -0A20. One of the challenges you're going to have with these is integrated lugs. So no straps on this. And a lot of them, because they're coming out of JDM, they have smaller wrists over there. They will not have their links. And the links do not show up for sale. So make sure you get it sized appropriately. And you buy the one that is the right size for you. Last, but certainly not least, the Sky Professional, the SBDR001. Having the same Seiko Brights titanium, same dimensions, but anti-digi. Oh, it even has a battery indicator. Thank you. This has probably one of the coolest chronograph features going. Let's see if I can get it actuated here. All right, it's got that world time feature. All right, chronograph. Yeah, you're going to love this. Yep, let's do it. It's got a fighter jet shooting across the top as the chrono's going. How neat is that? I swear that looks like an F-35 to me. The F-35 did not exist when this came out, so maybe Seiko was making jet predictions with this. Probably an F-16 though, in their mind, but it come out as an F-35. So really rather cool and super duper affordable. These cruise well under 1,000, typically well under 800. I think a couple years ago I picked this up for like $450 or something. Absurdly cheap for a titanium watch, and Seiko's take on the Omega X33, if I may be so bold. There's a lot going on in there, but just a super cool watch. And let's see what other features we have. An alarm, back to time, back to world time. All right. No display case back on this one, obviously. Don't need to see a battery. But I seem to recall that these batteries are expensive. But you can swap it out yourself. I think I probably got that battery off of eBay or Amazon. So no worries, no hurries there. And a quick look through this MOOC. MOOC is a name that basically stands for Magazine Plus Book. Typically, I think these are only in Japan, and they're made to... Actually, no, there are some here in the U.S. Not as much, but they're meant to stay on newsstands longer than the usual cycle for a magazine. Now, yes, you're probably not going to be able to read the kanji, but there's a bunch of things in here. Really cool watch pictures and reference numbers. And because it's coming out of Japan, got this off of eBay, it has a bunch of models that we don't get here. So if you're super into rare birds, particularly JDM rare birds like this, all those Credor Phoenix models, gorgeous, and other rare JDM only watches. I guess Tsutima is pretty big over there. Can't read a lick of it, but love I love the pictures. Pictures and reference numbers are typically all you need in order to go on a proper hunt. So check these out. You can get these range anywhere from, $20 up to well over $100, depending on which one you get. But coming out of the JDM, anticipate some shipping and have yourself some fun adding to your watch library. This has been your collector's journey with the Godzilla Automatic Flightmasters, Auto Flighty and Friends. That's what I should... I think that's going to be the name of the video. Hope you enjoyed that little tour de force. And if you have any questions about these models, about how they wear, about how they behave, hit me up in the comments here or over on Instagram. I love talking watches and engaging about it, mostly because I'm obsessed, but also because my family does not like listening to me talk about watches, and I have to talk about watches to someone, so why not you? Thanks for coming along on the ride. Hope that wherever you are in this wonderful, beautiful hobby of ours, you are blessed, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace. Pick up a book. 1001 Watch Designs, Volume 1. We've got line art, oil paintings, steampunk, and even super duper realistic ones. Ones that you could probably put on your wrist today. It's a good bit of fun and a great way to share your support. Thanks for coming along on the ride.